Hello, eighth graders. It's now time for us to think about financial literacy, how you're going to spend your own money. Remember, we talked about in class how algebra and geometry, these are important parts of math, parts of mathematics that we all have to know. But just as an important part would be how you handle your own finances, your own money. So, as part of an ongoing, I think we do this a lot this year. We'll do it several times anyway. To understand how we spend our own money, how to keep track of that money, and what take the state takes when we talk about taxes. So remember, for every dollar you spend in Ohio on items other than food, you're going to have to pay the state of Ohio some money. And the state of Ohio uses that money to build roads and universities, prisons. They pay the highway patrolmen. It's just a way the state gets a huge chunk of revenue, money, to pay their bills. So as we head into Black Friday, we're all used to scenes where people are pushing and shoving to get good deals. Remember, we said when we talk about being Black Friday, it means that it's really good for the businesses. They're in the black, which means they're making a profit. Even though they're selling big TVs and things really cheaply that day, most people will buy other things that gives a source of money. They also get people in the door, and traffic will buy lots of items. So lots of people in the store will buy lots of things, not just the one big item they came for. So we call it Black Friday. So it's really a significant economic event every year, right around Thanksgiving, where people begin to spend. Now, I'm not sure what it'll look like this year based on all the things going on with COVID-19, but I can guarantee you there'll probably be a lot of people buying stuff online. So remember, this simulation is just designed to give you a chance to pretend like you're buying lots of things online around this time of year. And it's also a little bit of a competition to see if you can spend all your money. So remember, you're given $5,786 to spend. You have to buy things, and anything that's school appropriate, of course. It can be a puppy, it can be video games, it can be socks. It doesn't matter. We're going to assume that there's no shipping cost. Everything will be shipped to you at free, but you will have to pay 6% tax on items. So that's 0.06. Okay? So you should have picked up a paper in class. If not, there's a sample of one in this slideshow that you can find on the internet. It's just a basic spreadsheet. But I want you to do it with a pen or pencil so that you can physically write down everything you're buying. So you turn in a list of items bought and the total cost. Remember, you're going to find 20 to 30 things, not just a few of the same things that you will be buying. So you can't buy 30 of the same pillow. You can't buy one giant four-wheeler. You have to buy 20 to 30 different items. No repeats. And you'll need 2 historical items. So maybe a painting of Abraham Lincoln or a copy of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Something like that. So you need 2 of those. And I'm shooting for this week, but because of everything that's going on, I don't want you to have to work over the vacation. So we'll see how we're doing towards the end of this week, like Monday or Tuesday, and when we get done with class. So again, this slide you can watch again, or this video you can watch again to help you. So just to be clear, if you're buying an Xbox that's $379, well, that's not the final price. Remember, we talked about in class the difference between cost and price. Cost is what it takes the company to produce this item you're buying. The price is what they're charging you for it. So the difference between cost and price is their profit. So we try to say this is the price of the item. $379 is the price. So you take 379 times 0.06, meaning you want this to be 6%, not 60%, but 0.06 is 6%. And that gives you $22.74 just in tax to buy this Xbox. So then you put that $22.74 on top of the $379, and your total price to get the item is $401.74. All right? So then when you look at your sample spreadsheet, either the one you find or the one that I provided in class, you have to basically just worry about a few columns. All the transactions will be electronic, so I think the paper in class doesn't even say transaction type. I think it just says check number, which we're not writing a check. You don't have to worry about the date, but you do write down the description, like what you bought and where you bought it from. So let's say you bought a video game from Amazon, you would write that on that line. All of you are starting with $5,786. So remember, that's the balance. So that's in the upper right, basically. You write that in the white space so you kind of remember how much you have. And then in the balance section, or in the balance column, you keep an accurate amount of money that you have. So if you start with $5,786, you subtract the $22 for the total price of the video game from Amazon. That's including tax, and that gives you $5,764. So the balance on the right is always the amount you have. So you always have to keep a running tally of your balance so that you don't somehow spend more than you have. So you need to figure the tax in for the cost, I should say the price, for the item you're buying. Remember, that goes in the debit or withdrawal column. You're not worrying about anything with the credit or deposit because you're not getting paid any more money. You're not putting more money in the bank in this simulation. You're just taking away from the $5,786. So you really just worry about the withdrawal or debit column. And then the balance is always how much you have left there on the far right. So if you're able to look at this sheet and wonder how much money you have left, you know by looking in the balance right there to the right. Of course, this is really fun. It's supposed to be fun, and you can have your parents help you if you want, if you're having a little hard time with the math, because I'm sure they know what they're doing. But it's a great way for an 8th grader just to kind of get comfortable with spending money, putting tax on top of that money, figuring out the total price of something, and keeping track of how much money you have as you spend it. And this is the sample financial transaction sheet we used in class, but if you can find one better, certainly can get one off the internet. But I have these in class. They say the check number, the date, the transaction, withdrawal. Remember, you're not worrying about the deposit, and you're only keeping track of withdrawals and balance because none of you work at Kroger yet, so you're not going to get any extra money. So you've got $5,786 to spend on stuff. And fun stuff is always really fun. So there have been some crazy things that kids have been buying. So look for fun, creative things. But you've got to spread out your money and spend it to buy 20 to 30 items, no repeats, and a couple historical items. And don't forget about tax to fund the state of Ohio. That reminds me, where did Ohio come from anyway? Crickets. Oh, I remember, the Northwest Ordinance, which organized it and set up the rules. Technically came from the Northwest Territory. We had the Land Ordinance 1785, which carved it up, set it up in little grids, little townships. And then the Northwest Ordinance 1787, which gave us the rules. But I'm sure you remember all that. Anyway, happy shopping.